The 21 Vital Instructions. The Master of Uddiyana, known by the name Padmasambhava, is an emanation of Buddha Amitabha. Having interrupted birth and death, he remains in his bodily form beyond passing and transmigration. His voice teaches the 9 vehicles, including all the causal and resultant teachings. His mind, endowed with omniscient wisdom, comprehends the vital points of all dharmas. Lady Sogyal, the princess of Kachin, asked the Master, I fail to understand the key points of the outer and inner teachings, the 84,000 Dharma doors, and the higher and lower vehicles. So please bestow upon me the vital instructions. She had not only pleased her master in thought, word, and deed, but she also accompanied this request with an offering of a golden mandala, bedecked with turquoise, resembling the 7 precious possessions. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains all that appears and exists? The Master replied, space is the vital point that contains all that appears and exists. The 4 elements are all changing and impermanent. But from the very beginning, the nature of space is empty and unchanging. The 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and wind, have a fleeting nature. When they appear within the expanse of space. While they remain within the expanse of space. And when they dissolve within that same expanse. Since the nature of space is unchanging throughout the 3 times, all that appears and exists can be condensed into space. While space is the example, the meaning is Dharmata, which, like space, is empty since the primordial beginning. And the sign is that within the sky-like empty mind, habitual tendencies and disturbing emotions are just like clouds and mist. When they appear within empty mind. When they remain within the expanse of empty mind. And when they dissolve within the same expanse of empty mind. When you realize that this is the way it is, to be untainted by the flaws of habitual tendencies for karmic deeds and disturbing emotions, is known as having brought together all that appears and exists within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains the 84,000 Dharma doors? The Master replied, Dharmata's great ease is the vital point that contains the 84,000 Dharma doors. Other dharmas change and do not last. Dharmata's great ease is spontaneously present since the beginning. Free of deliberate striving, an uncontrived state, a self-existing natural presence. And it remains an unconstructed expanse. When the 84,000 Dharma doors of the other vehicles appear, they appear within the expanse of Dharmata's great ease. When they remain within Dharmata's expanse of great ease. And when they dissolve again within Dharmata's expanse of great ease. No matter how dharmas may change, no matter what words are used to express them, and no matter how the learned may explain them, the nature of Dharmata's great ease remains unchanged. Therefore, the vital point of all dharmas is to settle evenly, without striving, within Dharmata's great ease. That is the vital point of the 84,000 Dharma doors. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains every sentient being? The Master replied, Awakened mind is the vital point that contains every sentient being. Every physical form and state of mind changes and is impermanent. Sentient beings in the four modes of rebirth first appear because of failing to realize their minds. Next, they remain due to not realizing their minds. When they continue to circle, sentient beings spin in samsara due to not realizing their minds. When they simply recognize the never-arising mind, a self-existing knowing that is primordially pure, they have found the awakened one within themselves. The moment they realize the nature of this mind and settle evenly, without striving for the mind, they have awakened within this expanse. Since awakened mind is essentially unchanging throughout the three times, all sentient beings are the awakened state of a Buddha. And since this Buddha, the Sugata essence, is present in a way that pervades everyone, it is of vital importance to realize this awakened state. To realize it is known as having brought together all sentient beings within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains every type of wisdom?" The Master replied, "Self-existing wakefulness is the vital point of every type of wisdom. Other wisdoms change and do not last. Self-existing wakefulness, naturally present since the primordial beginning, is the nature of dharmata, an unlimited self-knowing. To this self-existing wakefulness, nothing remains unknown. Nothing remains unseen. Nothing remains unrealized. Since this self-existing wakefulness is awake and unfathomable in essence, it is also the basis for every dharma and wisdom. It is also their abode, and is therefore known as the vital point that contains every type of wisdom. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, Which vital point contains every type of samadhi? The Master replied, the samadhi of suchness is the vital point of all samadhis. Other samadhis change and do not last. The samadhi of suchness is Dharmata, your true identity. It is the unmistaken, original nature as it is. The uncontrived, true identity. Simply to be this nature, the emptiness of the samadhi of suchness includes every other type of samadhi, without exception, as they are contained within this very state. Every possible type of Dharma and every aspect of the awakened state, as countless as they may be, are, without exception, contained in the non-striving state of original emptiness, as it is. It is therefore known as having brought together all samadhis within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains all abodes? The Master replied, unchanging Dharmadhatu is the vital point of all abodes. All other abodes perish. For sentient beings who fail to realize the unchanging nature of Dharmata, their abodes, times, lifespans, circumstances, actions, and thoughts all change, while Dharmata remains unchanged by any circumstance or emotion. Unlike the exquisite abodes of Buddha fields, or the awful abodes of samsaric beings, the unchanging nature of Dharmata is subject to neither good nor bad concepts. It is unchanging by letting be, without artifice or striving. That is the Dharmadhatu abode. To realize its nature is known as having brought together all abodes within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains all paths? The Master replied, the path beyond journey is the vital point that contains all paths. All other paths change and do not last. The path of awakened mind is beyond journey, in the sense that awakened mind essentially is your true nature, unmistaken basic space, the non-dual nature of lucid wakefulness. So, when you realize how to embark upon it, there is neither a path to traverse nor a journey. The moment you realize this nature that transcends coming and going, there is no basis for a concrete path through which you could be conveyed by a vehicle. And being uncreated, it is known as the indestructible, Vajra-like awakened state. To realize this nature is known as having brought together all paths within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains all kayas, or bodies? The Master replied, the unchanging Dharmakaya is the vital point of all kayas. All other kayas change and do not last. Dharmakaya remains untainted by the shortcomings of substance and attributes. It does not change, as this unmanifest form is indestructible in all circumstances. The kayas labelled by thought, such as the Sambhoga kayas and the Mana kayas, all change. The word kaya is defined as indestructible because of remaining unchanged by any circumstance. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all kayas within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains all voices? The Master replied, the voice of the insubstantial nature is the vital point that contains all voices. Other voices change and do not last. The voices of sentient beings appear in sound and then cease. Once you realize the insubstantial nature of Dharmata, you understand that all beings' voices are devoid of concrete substance as well. Sounds are audible emptiness, empty of identity. They occur unhindered from the empty nature, because this self-existing nature is insubstantial. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all voices within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all states of mind?" The Master replied, "Equality, free of confusion, is the vital point that contains all states of mind. Other states of mind change and do not last. The mind of the Buddhas is undiluted and uncontrived. It is an unconfined quality, for which the flaws of confusion have been cleared away, and the wakefulness of knowing has unfolded. The state of mind of a sentient being fails to realize itself, and the superficial, illusory phenomena of involvements in the general vehicles are all delusion. Awakened mind, unmistaken and uncontrived, free from the confines of effort and striving, contains every state of mind of the Buddhas. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all states of mind within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all samayas?" The Master replied, "Pervasiveness is the vital point that contains all samayas, since it is timelessly beyond keeping. Other samayas change and do not last. Awakened mind is free from flaws and obscurations, and therefore pure and clear. Being free of virtuous objects to be accepted and flawed objects to be rejected. Awakened mind consists neither of something to keep, nor the act of keeping. Since there is no wavering within such a nature, not to part from its realized state is known as pervasiveness that transcends keeping a samaya. the countless millions of general samayas can be breached, and therefore bind you tightly to upholding them. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all samayas within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all virtues?" The Master replied, "A state of total equipoise is the vital point that contains all virtues. Every other virtue changes and does not last. As for the virtues of awakened mind, all spiritual virtues stem from mind. When your mind is pliable, you are in charge of whatever you may desire. It is just like the wish-fulfilling gem that is the source of bestowing all needs and wants. In contrast, the minor virtues of distorted learning are not like total equipoise and do not yield perfection. The attainment and stability of a pliable mind gives you total equipoise in the perfection of enlightened virtues. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all virtues within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all activities?" The Master replied, "Spontaneous fulfillment beyond striving is the vital point that contains all activities. All other activities change and do not last. Since the beginning, your self-knowing mind has been an unfabricated, spontaneous presence. So, since its aim is already fulfilled, henceforth, it is not something that an activity can accomplish with effort and striving. Everyone engaged in the teachings of cause and effect believes in achieving an awakened state that results from effort and striving. But this vital activity is like the statement, all deeds are fulfilled by settling without striving. Free of striving, the Dharmakaya is attained. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all activities within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all aspects of secret mantra?" The Master replied, "The secret mantra of the ultimate essence is the vital point that contains all aspects of secret mantra. Every other aspect of mantra changes and does not last. Knowing this is the essence of secret mantra." However, even though the empty nature of this knowing is present in everyone, it remains a secret because it is hard for it to be realized by everyone. The identity of this secret mantra of the ultimate essence is ineffable and unfabricated since the beginning, and therefore remains a secret. It is the secret mantra of the ultimate essence because this essence, revealed through the ultimate instruction, is the cause for attaining Buddhahood. To expect to attain Buddhahood through the laborious striving and cultivation of a deity and recitation of mantra is to bind the Buddha by craving. The belief that realization of this nature can be gained by effort is like the statement, "Attaining does not gain the Buddha's state, since one is bound by trying to attain." Therefore, when you understand it to be spontaneously present within you, the awakened state of a Buddha is not an object to be achieved. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all attainments into a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all aspirations?" The Master replied, "The absence of hope and fear is the vital point that contains all aspirations. All other aspirations change and do not last." In other words, to abide by and engage in the vehicles of the general perspectives is to keep a dualistic view of hope and fear. Aspiration in the Vajra vehicle of secret mantra transcends the duality of hope and fear, like the flight path of a bird. This is like the statement, the perfect path is entered without travelling the fivefold path. The Buddha path is traversed without wishing. The moment you merely recognize the unmistaken state of awakened mind, the Dharma Dhatu that by nature is spontaneously present, you neither hope to attain Buddhahood nor fear falling into samsara. In this way, wishes are fundamentally cleared away and paths are fundamentally beyond traversing. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all aspirations within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains all meditation trainings? The Master replied, the flow of uncontrived non-meditation is the vital point that contains all meditation trainings. All other trainings change and do not last. Train untrained in a thought-free state. Let training be in artlessness. There is no reason here to train. There is no meditator either. The vital point of truly training is to realize this total absence. The meditation with effort of the general vehicles is taught to be bound up with concepts of struggle and gain, and therefore does not bring freedom. So, to understand this non-meditation of natural presence is known as having brought together all meditation trainings within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, which vital point contains every type of conduct? The Master replied, non-action is the vital point that contains all types of conduct. All other types of conduct change and do not last. Let actions be while free of effort. Then all deeds are accomplished. To follow thoughts and tendencies is to be involved in the dharmas of cause and effect, the general vehicles of sentient beings. Well, what then does non-action mean? The conduct that is uninvolved in the duality of hope and fear is such that no matter what dharmas you engage in, by letting be, in the equanimity of non-striving, you are free from deliberate and attached yearning. By letting be in the nature of effortless equanimity, no matter what you perceive or think of, it is the conduct of all Buddhas. To understand and realize this is known as having brought together all types of conduct within a single vital point. Lady Sogyal asked the Master, "Which vital point contains all types of fruition?" The Master replied, "The true and complete Buddhahood is the vital point that contains every type of fruition. All other results change and do not last. True and complete Buddhahood is freed from the limits of permanence and nothingness. Transcending all types of concrete objects, it is unchanging, and neither arises nor ceases. Transcending dimensions, it is like this statement: Dharmakaya is itself a perfect purity, a personal experience, the undivided basic nature. This knowing, tranquil as Dharmata's state, the supreme fruition that transcends every attainment, springs from you, and within you is attained. Conversely, it is not taught here that freedom is reached by believing, as in the general vehicles, that the fruition of Buddhahood is achieved some other place. To understand and realize this nature is known as having brought together all types of fruition within a single vital point. To benefit future generations, I, Sogyal, concealed these 21 vital instructions that condense the realization of all Buddhas. This completes the 21 vital instructions. Seal of treasure. Seal of concealment. Seal of entrustment.